Good morning. Welcome to the Community Church of Chapel Hill Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. I'm Sienna Butler, a member of the Worship Associates Ministry. We want to welcome any guests or newcomers to our church and call your attention to a special note for you. Welcome guests and newcomers on the back side of your order of service. After service, please join us for our in-person Sunday social. We also welcome those of you attending online. Lyrics to hymns and all elements of the service may be found on the live stream screen. A complete order of service, including weekly announcements, is available via the link in the Sunday morning email and on the church website. Please turn off or silence any cell phones during our service to maintain a worshipful experience. Whomever you are, whoever you love, however you arrived in this beloved place, you are welcome here. And now for the Within These Walls, the SpongeBob musical.
Hello everyone, I'm SpongeBob and you should come see SpongeBob the Musical from November 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. And who's the lucky sponge in the mirror who is living his dream? Who's always extra careful with his dental hygiene? Hey guys, it's me. Happy just to be here in the world-renowned Bikini Bottom. How I love this town. Bikini Bottom on a sun shines down on a beautiful Bikini Bottom day. Good morning, Patrick.
Good morning already?
Yup, and I'm doing it within these walls.
I missed a snack. This busy schedule makes it hard to be me. To stay on track, now I'll have to eat it while I'm watching TV. There may not be time for a nap, but I'll do what I can. They're showing all the episodes of Mermaid Man. Every single one. I'm spending all day underneath my favorite rock.
Good morning, Squidward.
Another day, another migraine. When I want some quiet, there's nowhere to go. A sensitive artiste can't get a moment's peace with these two idiots in stereo. They never go away. Typical Bikini Bottom day.
Hey, look, it's Sandy the Squirrel.
Above the town and looking down on a typical Bikini Bottom day.
In the world-renowned Bikini Bottom, our own hometown. Bikini Bottom, and the sun shines down on a beautiful Bikini Bottom day. See you at the SpongeBob table.
That's SpongeBob the Musical. That's November 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. Don't miss it. I invite you to rise in body or spirit as we sing our first hymn of the morning. It is number 1001 in your teal hymnal breaths. And this morning, for our day of remembrance, if you are remembering someone during the first hymn this morning, you're welcome to come and place a picture, if you brought one, of the person you're remembering on the table in the front. And you're also welcome to come light a candle for someone you're remembering. So as we're singing and lighting candles and placing photos, let us sing out number 1001.
Listen more often to things than to me.
The words of invocation this morning are adapted from words Lynn Cox. Welcome. You approach this time as a journey toward the horizon, the beginning of the next chapter, seeking all of the insights and opportunities the new day offers. Welcome, you who live out the values with passion, who have a drive for transforming the world toward gratitude and healing, who are ignited by purpose. Welcome, you who ride the waves of life with serenity. You who show courage in facing the depths of true emotion. You who create and change and flow with time. Welcome, you are here to seek the center. You who wish to be grounded in the community. You who call attention to the present moment. Welcome, all, from every direction, with all the gifts of your limits, with all that past week and the past year have given you. We find ourselves here on the threshold of a new day. Some would say a new year, at a time when the past and the present are stirred together in the cauldron of what shall become. Today, we remember our beloved dead. Today, we give thanks to the people and the forces that helped reach us this moment. Today, we gather with the saints, the sinners, and the souls who have been, are being, and will be in this congregation as we open up a new path for the future. Please join with me in saying the words for our chalice lighting. We light this chalice to celebrate Unitarian Universalism. This is the church of the open mind. This is the church of the loving heart. And this is the church of the helping hands.
Chest can feel the pain that makes it hard to breathe, but your love will always stay and the pain will leave. Watch for a sign, keep your heart alive. The Spirit breaks new ground whenever something dies.
Each year, in late October, we hold a service of remembrance. We do this in late October because this is the time of the year when Christians, especially Catholics, recognize All Saints' Day and All Souls' Day. We do this in late October because this is the time of the year when European pagans celebrated festivals like Samhain, the festival of the final harvest, the festival marking the entrance into the darker times of the year, and also, importantly, the festival of the dead. And we do this in late October because all around us we see falling leaves, cooler weather, longer nights. This is the time in the natural world when we think of endings. In our church, we hold a service of remembrance because it is important to remember. Remembering is sacred and grounds us in our living, grounds us in our community, and grounds us in the larger human story of life and loss. So each year we may sing different music, we may tell different stories, we may set up altars that look different from year to year. I'm fond of the altars that we've set up today, that were set up, not we set up, that Marion set up as her gift to this service. And so each year things may look different, but the act of remembering stays the same. So what I'm going to do is I would like to just take a moment to name some of the people from the congregation who we are remembering this morning. And then Jenn is going to lead us in a responsive reading, after which we will have the opportunity all together to speak out the names of people we may be remembering today. This past year, our church has experienced the loss of 5 dear and beloved souls, members of our congregation. We remember this morning Barbara Dennis. We remember Kate Carroll. We remember Goodlow Sutler. We remember Peter Witt. We remember Shannon Richards. We remember them with deepest love and gratitude for their connections in our community. Many of us come this morning remembering a dear family member. Some of us may have lost a grandparent. Some of us, including me this year, may have lost a parent. Some of us may have lost an aunt or an uncle or a sibling or a partner. Some of us may be thinking in this time about an animal companion they miss. A cat or a dog, a beloved pet. Some of us may be thinking about the loss of a friend. And some of us may be thinking about the loss of someone they did not know, someone who touched their life as a musician or a creator or a leader or a person devoted to justice or a source of spiritual wisdom. Let us hold this time of remembrance as Jenn leads us in our responsive reading.
So our responsive reading this morning is number 721 in the Gray Hymnal, and it is "They Are With Us Still." So I will read the first section. If you will then follow by reading the section in italics. And at the end, I'm going to invite you all to take a moment to speak out the name of your loved ones and those that you are remembering today. In the struggles we choose for ourselves, in the ways we move forward in our lives and bring our world forward with us.
It is right to remember the names of those who give us strength in this choice of living. It is right to name the hour of our lives well lived.
We share a history with those lives. We belong to the same motion.
They too were strengthened by what had gone before. They too were drawn on by the vision of what might come to be.
Those who lived before us, who struggled for justice and suffered injustice before us, have not melted into the dust and have not disappeared.
They are with us still. The lives they lived hold us steady.
Their words remind us and call us back to ourselves. Their courage and love evoke our own. We, the living, carry them with us. We are their voices, their hands and their hearts.
We take them with us, and with them choose the deeper path of living.
Now let's take a moment and speak out the names of those we are remembering and those who lent strength in our lives. Amen.
I just want to say a few words about this piece, Nenye, which is that we're going to sing. When Brahms was towards the end of his life, he had a lot of losses in his life, especially his friend, the painter Anselm, and Robert Schumann, and he wanted to find a way to memorialize them and to write music about him in his grieving. And he found this poem by Friedrich von Schiller. And it talks about even the gods must die, all things beautiful must die. The words for this, by the way, are in your order of service on the inside page. And then he goes through all the Greek myths and talks about even the gods must die and mourn their losses. And that's the way he consoles himself. And you'll see at the end of the lyric, the last thing they say, "For a song of lament from the lips of the loved one is glorious." And the gods he talks about within the song are the Orpheus and Eurydice is the line about the ruler of shadows, and then Aphrodite and Adonis, and then Achilles. And so listen how the music changes for each story within this poem that they tell. So this is Nenye by Johannes Brahms.
for all the saints. Alleluia. I'm going to share a little reflection about remembering today. And to do this reflection, I'm going to use a hymn in our hymnal. It's hymn number 103. We're going to be singing it in just a little bit. It's a hymn called For All the Saints. And if you want to, while you listen to my words, you can even open up your hymnal and follow along. This hymn was once one of my favorites. It was once my absolute favorite. I have a lot of favorites, but this was my absolute favorite. And even though I have no idea how to play the piano, I'd never taken piano lessons, I actually, years and years ago, I sat down and taught myself how to play it on the piano, or at least taught myself how to finger, do it. So. I learned how to do the rest of it too. So I used to love this hymn so much. I still love it so much, but we've actually haven't sung it in church here the whole time that I've been the minister, and that's going to change today. The hymn is about remembering. It's about a special kind of remembering those people who came before us, maybe long before us, who worked for justice, for peace, for freedom, for goodness, who blessed the world. Now, the first two verses are all about the people we're remembering, the saints. For all the saints who from their labors rest, they've come to the end of their work. Who thee by faith before the world confessed, meaning they spoke out about their values and beliefs. And then in the second verse, it talks about how they worked for justice. And even when it was hard, talks about it, how it was difficult, and they worked even despite, were a light in the world, even when things were hard. But then in the third verse, which is on the next page, which I think indicates a key change, but I'm not sure, it changes a little bit, and it says, "O blessed communion of the saints divine, we," and this for the first time we get a we live in struggle, and they in glory shine. Well, we were thinking about the service today, Marion reminded me of a meeting that we had with a historian named Tim Tyson, beloved historian. And Tim Tyson, at this meeting with a bunch of congregants and this wonderful historian who does history of racial justice work, someone asked him, "Tim, do you ever despair? Do you ever lose hope? Do you ever get down?" And Tim said something interesting. He said, "Absolutely not. Because I remember the ancestors." That was what he said. "I remember those who came before, who struggled with hard stuff and faced impossible tasks and lived lives working for justice and for peace, even when it seemed impossible. If I gave up," he said, "if I gave up, that would be a dishonor to all those ancestors before us who never gave up." And so that third verse, "O blessed communion of the saints divine, we live in struggle, they in glory shine." It's about that connection that we hold with those who came before us. This morning in church, we have some guests with us. They came down from Washington, D.C., and were joined with our church and with churches all over the Triangle in doing Get Out the Vote. door knocking this week. We have our guests. Would you raise your hand? I'm going to put you on the spot. Do we have our guests? We have a few guests this morning there in the back. We have a few. And so our guests came as part of a project run out of All Souls Church in Washington, D.C., All Souls Church in Washington, D.C., the Reeb Project. And Reeb is one of those saints, one of those ancestors. He was a Unitarian minister who was working for voting rights in the 60s and lost his life showing up to work for voting rights. And so this morning we remember those ancestors. And then the final verse of the hymn does not mention the saints at all. It's all about us. And when the strife is fierce, the conflict long, comes to us, steals on the ear the distant triumph song, and hearts are brave again, and arms are strong. Alleluia. The final verse of the hymn changes the focus. The verse is not about the saints, it is about us. It's about how when we face fierce strife and long conflict, how we can remember the legacy of those who came before us, the triumph song, and when we remember, we ourselves can find those brave hearts and strong arms that are needed in our day. Sienna is going to introduce the offerting, and then as the offertory baskets are passed, we are going to remain seated and we're going to sing out number 103 for all the saints.
And now it is time for our offertory. Freely we have received gifts that minister to our needs of body and spirit. Gladly we bring to our church its wide concerns a portion of this bounty. If you wish to donate online, please point your camera to the QR code on the back of the order service and tap the banner that appears, or there's information on the church's website. We will now receive the morning offering.
Third verse is on the second page.
Ancestors can be hard to recall. They lived before us, so we're trying to know and remember someone we haven't even met or we didn't know for very long. Ancestors could be family, or an ancestor can be someone from the past who is not a direct relative, but someone we claim as an ancestor because of the example they set. We're going to do a meditation to help us recall and remember our ancestors now. And today we're going to let our hands help us remember. So will the person on the inside of the center aisle reach under their seat for a basket and select 2 strands from the basket and pass it down? And each person can select 2 strands with colors that speak to them. It's best if you choose 2 different colors. All right. I want you to take 1 strand and hold it in your hand. And now close your eyes and think of an ancestor. Someone you know of who has come before you. You might have known them personally, like a grandparent or a great-grandparent. Or they might be someone you admire, like freedom fighter Harriet Tubman, or peace seeker Thich Nhat Hanh, or our former minister, Charlie Cast. What is the name of the ancestor you want to remember? Try to picture them in your mind. As you run your fingers over the strand, try to think of what their face looked like. Did they have fantastic wrinkles? Or a very kind smile? What are they wearing in this picture in your mind? Maybe you've seen them in a photograph. How does their hair look? If you knew them, how did you feel when you were around them? What's something courageous they did, big or little, to stand up to power in their own life? What was that courageous act? Now you can open your eyes and take the other strand and hold them side by side. This new strand is you. Touch the bottoms together and start twisting the strands like so. And while you twist, think about how you're connected to your ancestor. How are you similar to this ancestor? Add a twist. Maybe you share a name. Add a twist. Maybe you share family. Add a twist. Perhaps you have a similar twinkle in your eye. Twist for that twinkle. Maybe you share a circumstance. Twist. Or something is similar in your life. Keep twisting. Finally, what characteristics do you share? Are you brave like them? Add a twist. Are you strong like them? Add a twist. Do you hope to have their wisdom someday? Finish twisting. Our lives are full of twists and turns, but now that you've spent some time remembering, you can see how your strand is tied up with your chosen ancestor. you can see how we are deeply connected in a line, which is sometimes called a lineage. It won't surprise you to know that that's where that word comes from. But there's one more thing I'm noticing about our embodied ancestral lines that we have made today. They're flexible. It bends and forms. So take a moment to bend your lineage into a meaningful shape. Maybe it's a heart, or a circle, or a squiggle, or an infinity. And when you have your shape, hold your creation up for us all to see. It turns out our ancestral connections are just like these fuzzy pipe cleaners. Fuzzy can mean blurry, right? Hard to remember, but they can also mean warm, like a warm, fuzzy memory. It can be hard to remember our ancestors, but it can feel good when we do. The act of remembering gives shape to who they were, and it helps us think about who we want to be. Each of our creations are unique. Let's see some of yours. Lots of them. But they are formed by the people who came before us in this great interconnected web of life.
Thank you so much, Kat. Our closing hymn this morning is number 336. It's called All My Memories of Love, and I invite you to rise in body or in spirit as we sing out.
Silently, love to fortify.
Please remain standing in body or spirit. The words for extinguishing your chalice are in your order of service. Please join me if you wish to do so. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. We now invite you to hold hands with the person next to you or place your hands over your heart while we sing Shalom.
Thank you.